It is embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing. And the fact is that originally it's, oh yeah, you know, we're looking towards everything. Then they had to double down. They actually redacted this statement. They redacted a statement. They redacted the statement saying we're looking at everything, saying no, we're actually not looking at most of the stuff. We're looking at a lie spread on social media that went viral. We are looking into a literal lie spread on social media that got spoken into fact. We're looking at a lie.
The WNBA just slapped Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever with such a weird punishment that even Angel Reese couldn't believe what she was seeing. And trust me, that means a lot because she loves stirring things up. Is the league finally revealing what it's really about? Or are we watching another episode of Let's Mess with Everyone and pretend it's entertainment? Whatever the case, this situation turned into something wild, ridiculous, and completely absurd. Get ready because this recent drama makes the WNBA feel like someone who hasn't slept in days wrote the script while obsessed with creating total confusion.
The WNBA, this has to be the most pathetic professional organization I have ever come across. This has to be the most unprofessional organization I have ever come across. This league would definitely not succeed without Adam Silver saying, here's more money, here's more money, here's more money, here's more money. Without David Stern saying, here's more money, here's more money, here's more money, here's more money. This league would be gone. And that's what happens when you don't need to think logically, when you don't need to think like a business, when you can continue to put activism at the forefront because daddy's gonna continue to pay your bills. You're allowed to get off the rails. You're allowed to say whatever outlandish stuff you want to say because it doesn't matter. You'll never fail.
Can you take us through the flagrant foul from your perspective? Just what you saw in that play, how you interpreted what happened.
Basketball play, refs got it right. Move on.
Oh yes, the WNBA. A competition where passion gets toned down and genuine conflicts are handled like public relations nightmares. If you've ever asked yourself what professional basketball would become after going through a corporate training session and getting covered with quotes from a spread positivity mood board, here's your answer. And the newest episode, a story worth major attention featuring Caitlin Clark, the guaranteed scorer, and Angel Reese, who approaches every match like it's a championship wrestling event and she's playing every character at once. Let's dig into this craziness.
Okay, so I didn't hear anything outside of the run-of-the-mill booing. But the WNBA seems content to follow through with this ridiculous investigation. Who is the WNBA going to let control their pocket strings, their pocketbooks? Because it seems to me like the new fans are the ones that's funding this whole league now. I mean, we make up about 70% of the fans overall. Otherwise, yesterday's game would have been watched by about 400,000 people, maybe. It probably got watched by what? Upwards of 2 million? I mean, does the WNBA want to lose Caitlin Clark fans? Because I think as much as people want to support Caitlin Clark...
Imagine this scene. Caitlin Clark, queen of pressure situations, exceptional game awareness, and genuine basketball intelligence, executes a smart, controlled defensive move. She positions herself with what could be the smoothest, most professional contact the competition has witnessed this entire year. You'd recognize it as determination in any activity that hasn't been overly protected. But in the WNBA, make contact with anyone and immediately it's handled like a serious violation.
Fans yell and fans scream and fans try to do anything they can to diminish their opponent's ability to make a bucket. And I think that it's very hard to really understand or really interpret this sound that way, at least for me it is. And I'm really hoping that the WNBA did not just announce an official investigation based on internet hearsay and...
In comes Angel Reese, who rather than ignoring it and continuing with the competition, behaved like she just earned a starring position in the upcoming action blockbuster franchise. Maximum contact, maximum performance, maximum confrontational energy. But here's what's surprising. Caitlin, she showed no response, didn't move, didn't even look bothered. She simply pivoted and left like she had somewhere important to be and absolutely no interest in cheap entertainment moments. But that wasn't what everyone talked about. Not at all. The WNBA, with all its puzzling choices, didn't highlight Angel transforming the floor into her personal combat arena. Instead, they criticized, believe it or not, Indiana Fever supporters. Because obviously when things get crazy, it's the audience's responsibility. No.
Why I'm so angry about this? I'm so angry about this is because how many kids are there in that audience? How many kids are there? And I'm sorry. I'm cool with idiots online branding me as whatever they want to. But when it comes to innocent kids who just want to watch their favorite team, favorite players play basketball, and thankfully they're going to be oblivious to this. But I'm sorry, you're branding kids as dangerous. You are branding kids who are just enjoying their game, who are having the time of their lives watching this league as dangerous. This league does not want to grow. This Players Association do not want to grow. Neko Wumake, don't criticize. Watch, don't criticize. That.
So mad at how AB defended her teammate, how DeWanna Bonner spoke about the fans. They were so mad about a common basketball play in which Angel Reese admitted was a basketball play, that they went out of their way to make things like this. Unless the powers that be make some drastic changes to support our players and their fans, I don't think Indianapolis should be allowed to host the WNBA's All-Star Weekend. These people are writing emails because they're so emotionally unhinged. They're so emotionally unhinged. They've never been checked a day in their life. Their parents allow them to act like fools. With no repercussion, with no consequence. Always being acquiesced to every little complaint, to every little need, to every little this, to every little that. They're writing emails to get the Indiana Fever.
The actual troublemakers, supposedly the supporters, right? The people doing the terrible thing of supporting their team and expressing disapproval toward the athlete who targeted their star player. Shocking, isn't it? How dare they demonstrate emotion? In the WNBA's updated guidelines, being enthusiastic, devoted, and showing any competitive energy now counts as unacceptable behavior because competition too dangerous, fighting spirit inappropriate. And if your response isn't a quiet appreciation combined with a carefully curated smile for social media, well, you're obviously behaving incorrectly.
Hours ago, we had a situation that shook the earth. That is Caitlin Clark putting a flagrant foul on Angel Reese, and that foul arguably was probably one of the most transcendent moments in Caitlin Clark's career. To me, that moment there showed the world that Caitlin Clark wasn't backing down for nothing, and she wasn't scared to get in the mix when it comes to protecting her teammates and stopping somebody from making the basket. Well, many other Angel Reese fans have rage war against Caitlin Clark fan base by saying racial slurs online. And me personally, I'm staying out of the race stuff as of right now. But for them to sit up there and lie and say that Angel Reese again called racist names during the game, I had somebody from my team sitting right behind Chicago Sky Bench. Wasn't nobody saying nothing about Angel, man.
It seems the WNBA has created a serious problem with genuine competition. The type of authentic on-court conflict that originally made athletics matter. Not the carefully manufactured publicity nonsense, but real conflicts that make audiences invested. Instead, we're living in the league's perfectly controlled fantasy world, where every athlete is supposed to act like they're campaigning for election, and a single inappropriate feeling makes league officials completely lose control. You'd assume the league would be excited about the Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese situation. It's the highest attention they've received since somebody accidentally discovered a match while changing past Cooking Channel. But instead of allowing this conflict to grow and increase viewership, they've buried it in gentle language and organizational overreaction. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark has accidentally turned into the WNBA's moving psychological assessment. Whatever your opinion is about her, you'll discover evidence to support it. Some recognize a once-in-a-lifetime player bringing the league into mainstream attention. Others, they mysteriously recognize a troublemaker ruining team chemistry with a simple assist. And if you choose to defend her publicly, congratulations. You've just secured a position on the WNBA's rejection list, where common sense and rational thinking go to gather cobwebs.
7 of their players have been called racial slurs for an entire day, but they're on the Indiana Fever. They don't care about those players. It's only certain players. The WNBA players, they don't want Caitlin Clark, and it's very clear. The WNBPA releasing a statement is the most embarrassing thing I've seen, because you know what? When it comes to the Fever players, it doesn't count. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. The WNBPA said something. And you know what? Their stance is clear. There's no place for hate unless it's towards Caitlin Clark or her teammates. Then it's fair game. They have made that point abundantly clear, and it's embarrassing.
Let's rewind to how everything started. A basketball match, an actual one. Caitlin Clark executes a smart, strategic move. Angel Reese reacts like she just experienced a personal insult. And Clark, she dismisses it, composed as always, displaying more maturity than the WNBA's complete public relations department could ever imagine. But instead of recognizing that composure under stress, what does the league do? They release a message criticizing the Indiana supporters because obviously that's the genuine emergency here. Have to respect them. The WNBA will contort itself ridiculously before acknowledging what's truly problematic. Angel's exaggerated response ignored. Her heated post-game behavior. Just competitive spirit. But some supporters shouting disapproval. That's where they establish their limit. Activate the emergency protocols. Somebody displayed excessive emotion at a competitive event. It's practically like the league is scared of competitiveness. Like competition could damage their meticulously managed, soft-colored identity. They want friendly embraces after rough plays, cheerful photos after mistakes, and perhaps a social gathering at center court instead of a game start. And whatever happens, don't label it a conflict. That's far too intense, too authentic, too similar to something audiences might genuinely watch athletics for. No, let's dilute it and label it constructive interaction or shared respect through competition.
They lost sight of reality. They lost sight of what real sports is about. The fans at the Indiana Fever game yesterday, they were being fans. They booed, they cheered, they screamed, they yelled. That's it. The Angel Reese fans, the old guard, the lowest common denominator that resides in the WNBA, the nose picker, the people that scratch their butt and don't wash their hands, those people saw that Caitlin Clark hard foul on Angel Reese, and they saw it as an opportunity. They saw it as an opportunity to do what they always do, make it about race.
Wouldn't want people's emotions getting hurt, except perhaps the genuine supporters who arrived to experience the match. Because obviously, maintaining everything pleasant and emotionally protected is the top concern, even if it removes the energy from the environment that makes athletics worth experiencing originally. Now, let's discuss the WNBA's genius plan for a penalty following this entire disaster. Heads up, it's not what people anticipated. With all the attention and debate, you'd assume someone, anyone, could potentially receive repercussions. Perhaps a financial penalty for Angel Reese, a caution about increasing conflict. Wrong, absolutely nothing. Instead, the league chose to target Indiana Fever supporters. Yes, really. The individuals who expressed disapproval, the ones who had the nerve to respond to what they witnessed on the floor, like, obviously, supporters. According to the league, that's the actual issue. Individuals displaying emotion at a live competitive event they spent significant money to experience. What comes next? A prohibition on applauding? A firm no enthusiasm rule? Perhaps supporters will receive handouts about proper quietness before games start. At this pace, the WNBA could easily transform every venue into a reading room where the single noise permitted is a gentle appreciation tap and possibly a perfectly timed excellent murmured quietly. Welcome to the modern era of professional athletics where enthusiasm is monitored, emotion is threatening, and the individuals who invest the most, they're the ones receiving penalties.
So as soon as I landed from Indianapolis to LaGuardia, New York, I got an email in my inbox relating to a WNBA statement. And to be quite frank, I was surprised to see it. I didn't think these things would be a topic this year. It's certainly not at this point. But here we go again.
And sarcastic remarks. Oh, that's essentially forbidden in today's WNBA. One sharp observation, and it's like the whole league enters emergency mode. You'd assume a smart remark could initiate a complete crisis situation in league headquarters. But let's be honest, this entire situation isn't just some minor disagreement between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark now. Not anymore. It's transformed into a demonstration of a league that's fixated on controlling every story, every moment, every instant until all the genuine emotion is completely removed. They're pursuing this excessively refined, perfectly spotless identity. So refined, actually, it doesn't show anything authentic. Just a business-appropriate coating of cautious messaging and standard expressions. And every occasion something authentic begins to develop, some energy, some toughness, something audiences could genuinely get excited about, the WNBA jumps in like a school supervisor with a disturbance report, eager to calm it down for appearances. No friction, no disruption, no emotion, just a bland pre-cleared stream of practice discussions and dull analysis. But here's an interesting idea. What if supporters genuinely want to witness some intensity? What if they're watching for the competitiveness, the conflicts, the unrehearsed situations that make athletics compelling? Because, let's be honest, without that sharpness, the only thing keeping audiences awake during another 52 to 48 fourth period struggle is the possibility of some unpredictability. Supporters don't want another sterilized performance presentation. They want confrontation, enthusiasm, narratives. They want a motivation to be invested.
One, let me put it out there. I don't believe for a second that Indiana Fever fans were yelling racial slurs where there were television mics down by the court. I don't believe it. They would have gotten thrown out of the arena. So don't let that narrative, it would be everywhere. Somebody would have it on camera. It would get leaked. It would be online right now. It's not. Everybody's got camera phones. We would already know if that was true. So don't let them slide you into some kind of false bullshit like they did at Duke and that player over that BYU.
Instead, what do we receive? A league that reacts to a passionate, fiery situation by blaming the supporters, criticizing them, and then looking confused when audience numbers barely survive, depending on a slim chance and a Caitlin Clark video compilation. Because let's be realistic, without Clark, most of these matches wouldn't even appear on social media feeds. She's the explanation people are watching. The explanation attendance is selling out everywhere. But instead of supporting her, highlighting her, or just allowing her to perform her style, the league's occupied ensuring Angel Reese's emotions remain protected from some negative reactions. The contradiction here is heavier than Angel Reese's pre-match makeup application. This is a league that's meant to represent empowerment, women advancing forward, powerful competition, destroying obstacles. Yet, every occasion something genuinely powerful occurs, they remove the exact sharpness that makes the activity thrilling. Caitlin Clark performs like a genuine winner. She manages the disorder with elegance and distances herself from controversy like she's operating on a superior plane because she truly is. But somehow she's the one receiving the problem label. And the supporters who support her, even more problematic. Apparently, they require an intensive lesson in how to support with compassion.
Tension going on online between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark fan base. The reality of the situation is, man, this is the reality for the Angel Reese fan. Angel Reese is not relevant at all as of right now for basketball. Angel Reese is a social media influencer. Her basketball career is diminishing right before our eyes. She needs this rivalry to keep going to make herself relevant in the basketball world. Because in the basketball world, her attributes and stuff really is starting to diminish. This year, we're going to see a decline in Angel Reese. Now, granted, she got a double-double yesterday, but she had to work her butt off to get it, man. And I'm here to tell you, we're going to see a diminishing Angel Reese this basketball season. Now,
this entire situation has transformed into a perfect demonstration of how to totally ruin your own progress. The WNBA finally captures interest. They've discovered a genuine icon, a personality who creates powerful reactions, and a developing conflict that could legitimately attract audiences. So, what's their strategy? They bury it completely with manufactured controversy and performative morality announcements. At this speed, you partially anticipate the league to introduce wellness advisors and therapeutic support animals. Athletes might not be permitted to overpower each other, but they could assemble in some protected area near the sideline to discuss their emotions. The WNBA had a perfect opportunity to intensify the conflict, to accept the controversy and allow the narratives to develop organically. Instead, they selected quietness and carefulness, terrified of bothering anyone. The league appears stuck in a continuous anxiety of being disliked, even when controversy would finally indicate they're receiving recognition. This isn't simply poor publicity management. It's complete self-destruction. Indiana Fever supporters did precisely what supporters universally do. They criticized the antagonist. That's not animosity. It's culture. It's dedication. It's the foundation of athletics. No antagonist means no champion. But try explaining that to a league whose version of controversy is a mildly uncomfortable greeting.
If I were the WNBA, I would look into these allegations before posting a public notice that there are allegations, because there's two things that you can be accused of. In my opinion, no matter what the outcome, just the accusation tarnishes.
What's coming for the WNBA? Distributing penalties for excessively strong visual contact, calling violations on anyone who delivers some sarcasm. Maybe it's appropriate to replace officials with mental health professionals, equipped with calming tools and guidelines on tension reduction. Truthfully, it seems like we're just one announcement away from giving warnings for inappropriate competitive looks. What's happening here? This is meant to be professional athletics, not a collective counseling meeting. If athletes get passionate on the floor, that's beneficial. It demonstrates they're invested. It proves they're not just showing up like it's a standard workday position. But this increasing resistance to any type of confrontation is removing from the league what it urgently requires. Unfiltered, genuine emotion, conflicts, dedication, those memorable situations that make supporters leap up, yell at their displays, and post continuously until their fingers get tired. So instead of punishing every stare, every gesture, every small heated moment like it's some workplace violation, how about the WNBA? Attempt something alternative for a change. Let the conflicts develop. Let the characters collide. Let the controversy happen organically. That's how you build narratives audiences genuinely invest in.
In itself, and I feel like the battles that, folks go through are not to be weaponized for basketball. It feels like such an empty platitude designed to vilify people more than really stop anything legitimate.
And Caitlin Clark, continue performing your style, sinking those distant shots, delivering those incredibly smooth assists, and yes, continue departing like the champion you represent while disorder happens around you. That composure, that self-assurance, that's what establishes you as a genuine icon. The WNBA requires more athletes like you, determined, powerful, and too occupied controlling the game to get involved in the controversy. Meanwhile, let's offer a massive recognition to the Indiana Fever supporters. While some venues seem like a silent social gathering with courteous appreciation and half-hearted enthusiasm, you arrived energetic and committed. You showed everyone that athletics aren't designed to be cleaned into dullness. They're intended to be enthusiastic, chaotic, intensely competitive, and yes, occasionally somewhat ridiculous. That's what makes them remarkable. So, here's a statement to the WNBA. Relax the restrictions, increase the intensity, and allow things to become authentic. Nobody desires a league packed with elite competitors behaving like they're trapped on a video conference with human resources. Let them compete. Let them express themselves. Let them battle for every advantage. That's how icons are created.
Advice to Caitlin Clark is never interact with that girl on the basketball court or off the basketball court, because any basketball play will turn into a non-basketball discussion. If you ever have to guard her, just call for a switch. Like, if she's going for a layup, just let her get the 2 points, man. Don't even foul. Don't even attempt to steal it. Because these nerds on social media are not gonna let the two of you ever interact without having a non-basketball discussion. So don't even interact with her no more.
So, here we stand. The WNBA has finally shown its actual identity. And no, it's not the intense, revolutionary energy they advertise in every commercial. What we received instead are the boring, diluted tones of superficial unity, neutral and tasteless. It's the let's all cooperate, don't make a disturbance color scheme where confrontation is forbidden and genuine conflicts are hidden away. Support too enthusiastically. You're too hostile. Criticize a bit too strongly. Suddenly, you're the issue. Want to compete and acknowledge a victory? That's apparently violating some unofficial rule of fair play, which now suggests everyone must act pleasantly and nobody tracks results unless it's on social media. This is a league that constantly requests to be respected seriously, to be observed and discussed like the NBA. But the instant genuine intensity or controversy develops, out appears the public relations department with their suppression equipment, covering everything in a secure, boring, business-approved quietness. The athletes, they're enthusiastic, talented, and motivated. The league, it's scared of its own capability. They desire attention, but avoid controversy. Want interaction, but only if it's peaceful and managed, require energy, but in limited, respectful amounts. And then they seem confused when supporters dismiss it and call it uninteresting.